the second annual SEO week. It is about 1 o'clock Eastern. We are going to be kicking off this event with just some quick introductions to NetElixir, and then today, of course, as you can see, we're going to be covering the topic of starting from scratch, laying out what the basics are of SEO. A lot of things have changed, oddly enough, over the past year in the world of SEO. So we're going to be covering a lot of those individual things, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun today just covering what some of those elements are. We're going to have some polls and some questions for everybody to answer. So again, really looking forward to sharing this information. What I would like to do, just one more quick audio check, if you could, please. Just send us a quick note and let us know that you can hear us in the questions field. Call me a little bit paranoid, but I just want to make sure that we're not having any audio issues. We want to make sure that everybody is going to be enjoying the experience. Thank you very much for all the notes, seeing that it sounds good, loud and clear, can hear us fine. Thank you very much, everybody. So, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to kick right into SEO week with the basics. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and start diving right in. So, as I mentioned, NetElixir is the producer of SEO week. NetElixir's goal is really just driven around helping digital marketers succeed online. We were incorporated in 2005, and we're currently broadcasting now from our global headquarters in Princeton, New Jersey. The team is made up of over 85 fanatically analytical search marketers, and all told, we have about 5.5 million hours of aggregated hands-on retail search marketing experience. So definitely a lot of experience going into the insights that we're going to be providing within SEO week, and all of the information that you're going to be seeing today. Our services, of course, break down to search engine optimization, which you're going to be covering today, but we really like to think that we cover all things search, so paid search, Google shopping. We also touch in social media optimization as well, and we do all of this with a very core understanding and a very strong technology background. So we have a very high-tech, high-touch approach in the way that we address our clients' concerns. So by utilizing our proprietary tools and algorithms like Elixir SEO and Elixir Marketplace and Elixir 100, we're able to provide excellent insights while also maintaining a high quality of service. And a little bit about NetElixir University. NetElixir University was founded in 2012 with the idea of democratizing the digital marketing industry through exceptional knowledge and expertise sharing. Our goal is to share our retail and digital marketing experience with over 10,000 businesses worldwide, and you can be a part of the movement by joining NetElixir University at LinkedIn. Just search your groups for NetElixir University and you'll find us there. Feel free to join up with us, and we really look forward to having you be a part of the conversation. So why SEO week? Why did we start SEO week? Currently, there are over 250 million active websites online. Finding yours can be a challenge, so SEO is really a great way of making sure that your website is found on Google and Bing. And we all know that SEO is not about fooling Google. It's about doing the right thing. Google is a very, very sophisticated piece of technology, and if you are trying to fool Google, they will catch up to you. The old status quo of what SEO used to be was trying to find a way of trumping Google, getting ahead of their algorithm, and just really just trying to be ahead of that. It's not about that anymore. It is not like that at all anymore, and that's why we're sharing this information today. We are going to show you some great ethical tricks or tactics or strategies, however you want to look at them, as ways that you can genuinely grow your organization through a high-quality marketing approach. And really the overall concept is that if you give a man to fish, you feed them for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. We really want to share this information with everybody because we feel that every single website on earth needs SEO. Every website needs to have some form of baseline presence in the search engines, and that's what we want to empower every business on earth with. And we're essentially giving the keys to say, hey, here's what you need to do to have your website perform well organically in the search engines. So over the next couple days, we're going to be covering a variety of topics. Today, of course, we're going to be covering the basics of SEO. Tomorrow, Tuesday, the 22nd of March, 2016, we're going to be covering some algorithm changes and some changes that have taken place in the SERP, or the Search Engine Results page, over 2016. Wednesday will be Mobile Day. We felt that with Mobilegeddon last year and some of the other changes taking place in the world of Google, that this was definitely important enough to give it its own day. And then on the 23rd, we are going to be getting technical. Our goal was to really just make sure that we were taking the scary out of what technical SEO is usually regarded as. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then on Friday, we're bringing back Content Day. But we wanted to enhance it a little bit and also make sure we were covering the world of social as well. So this is definitely going to be very exciting. We have a lot of great information packed into 5 short days and an hour each day. So definitely looking forward to sharing all of this information, and we hope you can join us for all 5 days. A little bit of information about myself. I am Shawn Swaim. I'm the Global Head of SEO here at NetElixir. I've been featured in the Philly Business Journal as well as Yahoo News over the years. And also I bring with me 10 years of web development and SEO experience. So I am a geeky, in the weeds type of SEO guy. I absolutely love unraveling someone's website to see, how Google is actually crawling it. And essentially that's how we've based this entire week's worth of content. So with that idea, just want to start diving right in here. And here we go with perfecting the basics. Let's start from scratch. We want to perfect the basics of SEO. What we want to do, and of course what we want to share with everybody, with SEO Week, you're going to have a number of actionable things that you can pull out of this, but we wanted to take it a step further, and we wanted to help you and supply the tools that can be used to perform better SEO on your website. So we felt a great place for you to get started was you can request from us by utilizing the email address SEO@NetElixir.com. Use the subject line SEO worksheet. And what this is going to do is all that you have to do is request for an on-page optimization worksheet, and that will allow you to sign up for our on-page optimization worksheet. We'll shoot it over to you, and then it will essentially guide you through the process of creating on-page optimization for your website. And then we're going to share some next steps with you as we go further into the presentation. And that will essentially help you develop a baseline for getting your website optimized. Again, SEO@NetElixir.com. Utilize the subject line SEO worksheet, and that will allow you to sign up for the on-page optimization worksheet. So a couple rules for SEO Week. Please ask lots and lots of questions. We want you to try and stump us. If we can't answer a question due to time or any other kind of restriction, all unanswered questions will be published on our blog shortly after the event. We encourage you to take screenshots. Any action that you're going to see throughout SEO Week will help improve your business's website performance. And as we mentioned earlier, please tweet what you're seeing and use hashtag SEO Week. The most important rule of all, though, is, of course, have fun. SEO is, of course, a very fun space. It can be stressful at times with some of the changes that Google has made over the years, but overall, let's make sure that we're having fun, and at the end of the day, it's all about getting those results. So before we start, we wanted to ask a quick poll question. What is your SEO comfort zone? So I'm just going to go ahead and open up a quick poll. So we're just going to give a few seconds here. If everyone could please just go ahead and fill out your question. We're seeing them starting to trickle through. Thank you very much for opening this up and answering the questions. We're going to give it about 8 more seconds. We're seeing that we're just about 100% voted. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Okay, so what we can see is that it looks like we are looking at our audience as having a little over half of you are, you say that you're, you know your way around, you're just looking to sharpen up a bit. Well, thank you very much for joining, and for everybody who is a newbie to SEO, thank you for joining as well. And for those that are the pros here, thank you for joining as well. We hope you get some really good insights out of this too, and we think that everybody is going to have some really good information to pull out of the sessions here today. Okay, so here we go, diving right in here. Sorry about that. Okay, so essentially what we want to do is we want to start the session today by essentially asking the question, what is SEO? And really at the end of the day, SEO is the art and science of modifying a website to capture more organic traffic through search engines. Search engines, of course, use algorithms to determine where a website is going to rank. So we really can't do much about that algorithm itself. We can use our website to influence where we show up in there, but as far as the algorithm itself, we really can't do much about it. So what we're going to be covering is what can be done on our website to make sure that we are capturing and enticing that algorithm to to give us a little bit more credit. So why do SEO? About 70% of search engine traffic is through the organic listings, despite the minimal presence above the fold. We all know of the recent SERP change that moved around the organic listings as well as the paid listings, and how the paid listings have definitely been shaken around a bit. So very minimal presence above the fold, yet folks tend to trust the organic listings a little bit more. And that is why it is important to make sure that you are in an optimal position. The other beautiful part about SEO, and personally why it's one of my favorite ways to go about marketing, is because SEO is a method of pull marketing rather than push marketing. You think about billboards, radio ads, TV ads, different things along those lines, where you are kind of interrupted throughout your normal day by just different things being thrown at you. But SEO, on the other hand, is really only there when somebody is looking for it. So that is why we refer to it more as pull marketing instead of push marketing. So what is the process of SEO? It's essentially understanding how a website functions, which we're going to dive into deeply today. And then it's also somewhat about understanding search engines. So even though, as we mentioned, we can't really necessarily modify how an algorithm is going to work, what we can do is understand how they function and react to it accordingly, which in turn leads to making sure that we're creating a better website experience. So what we want to begin with is that we want to make sure that it is understood that there are endless ways to correctly engineer a website that is appearing in a browser properly. However, only a handful of elements are looked at by search engines when it comes to relevance. So as a web developer myself, I can tell you that I've probably never developed a website the same way twice, but yet they always manage to appear accurately when rendered in a browser. So it's just a few core elements that are important with making sure that your website is properly optimized. So looking at the quote-unquote optimizable elements on a website, and we're going to be going through each of these elements individually to make sure that we are optimized properly. Starting with the page title element. The page title element, we're going to go through what that means and as it relates to the SERP, and then go through a number of other content-centered elements as well. So that actually leads us to our next poll question. So for the folks that have been in SEO a little while, what we want to share is, or what we want to get from you is a quick bit of insight into which element do you believe is the most important, or the result that is, the element that is going to have the quickest impact on your SEO. Is it the page title element? Is it the content that's on your website? Is it your meta description, or is it internal links? So we can see that we have several folks voting now, so thank you everybody for participating. We're going to give it about 5 or 7 more seconds. I still see them still trickling through here. Okay, looks like we are just about finished up there, so we're going to share the results here. Okay, so it looks like we are about neck and neck for the page title and the content elements. Well, that is absolutely correct. It was a little bit of a trick question. I would say that the page title element probably edges over the content just a little bit, but content is definitely increasing in its importance, and it is definitely a key element when it comes to ranking your website for sure. Okay, so we're just going to close that out and get back to it. Okay, so where we're going to start is the page title element. The good thing to know about the page title element is that it is only displayed really in the SERP, or the search engine results page, and your browser tab. As I mentioned, I do consider it to be the most important element of on-page optimization. Now, some of the best practice elements here to keep in mind is that the character limit is about roughly 55 characters. You want to make sure that you are including a major keyword, and you absolutely have to make sure that you are using natural language when writing this element. So the key way of optimizing your page title, I have found to be in this structure here. Anybody who wants a memento to take away from today, I heavily suggest screenshotting this slide right here. So when writing your page title, you want to have a broad primary keyword right up front, and then you want to make sure that your brand is included within this title element. And then if there's space, you can go ahead and include a secondary keyword. So let's just say that we are optimizing the website Widget Emporium, and the page that we want to optimize for is for the page Blue Widgets. So the way that we would want to target that page, up front we would say Blue Widgets, because that is the primary term. And then for a conjunction, we could use @ and then Widget Emporium, of course. So we would start off the page title with Blue Widgets @ Widget Emporium. And then for a secondary keyword, we may want to include something like high quality widgets or something along those lines. The important thing to remember is that Google reads the website just like you and I do. So when Google sees that something is just outright keyword stuffed, or that just repeated keywords over and over again, that is going to be a negative signal in the eyes of Google, just like it's going to be something that you and I as an end user are not going to take too nicely to. So it is important to make sure that your language is nice and natural, and then also make sure that you do also, in the same vein, include the keywords that you are trying to target within the individual pages within the page title. So a little bit of a fun fact, folks that have been in SEO for a little while would have noticed this. Over the last 18 months, Google has greatly reduced the number of characters that are considered optimal for the page title. We know that the font size has changed within Google, so that caused a little bit of a shrink. And then also with Mobilegeddon and the movement towards a more mobile experience, we know that that reduces the amount of space that's available on the SERP, so that actually reduces the number of characters to about 55 characters. And a lot of websites tend to perform better when the element is a little bit on the shorter side. So the next element that we're going to be covering is the meta description. The good thing to know about the meta description is that it displays in the SERP only. And even though it only shows up in the SERP or the search engine results page, it is not a ranking factor. Character limit is about 156 characters. That seems to be the magical number. Now, even though it's not a ranking factor, you do want to make sure that you are including a major keyword. Every single page on your website should have unique meta descriptions, and you absolutely want to make sure that you are using natural language for the exact same reason that you want to make sure you're using natural language within your page title. You're going to notice a little bit of a recurring theme here, that you absolutely have to make sure that you are using natural language. Now, we mentioned that this is not a ranking factor. So where we utilize the meta description as marketers is that we want to utilize this area so that we can perform tests within the SERP. We want to see what kind of impact we can have in increasing our click-through rates. So let's just say that we have a key keyword that we want to be ranked for, and we are at position number 2. If we are going to hold position number 2 steadily, what we can do is we can modify our verbiage and language to say, okay, we want to see how people click when we have this phrase versus this phrase. We can also test our conversion rate. Lots of great things to test here. So again, since it does not have the weight in rankings, you have lots of opportunity here to test different phrases and calls to action and everything. The other element that we mentioned, and the with it in mind that that there is no ranking weight, it's also important to make sure that you do include your keyword here. Reason being for that is because when the keyword is present and somebody searches for the specific term, you get a little bit of a bolding effect within the meta description. So in my mind, that is a great way of making sure that you are relevant to the searcher, and that you're really just making sure that you're really appealing to what the person is searching for. Content is the next big piece that we want to cover here. The important thing to remember is that Google reads your website and your website's content just like the end user. Now, what Google officially says is that use the right amount of content that is appropriate for the page that the end user is on. There is no content minimum. However, what we see is that websites that have a 300-word minimum on the top performing pages tend to perform better than those that don't. So it is, I would say, pretty important to make sure that you have at least a couple paragraphs worth of content for the end user and for Google to sink its teeth into, and that's going to really allow for a better search crawler and end user experience as well. The key here is making sure that you're utilizing your major keywords. You can utilize them a couple times, but absolutely the golden rule here is to make sure that you are writing for the end user, not the search engines. An old rule of content used to be that you want X% keyword density. I personally wouldn't worry about that too much now. Just make sure that you are utilizing the terms within your content, just so that Google knows that this is what the page is about. However, I wouldn't consider keyword density to be a major ranking factor. Just make sure you have it mentioned within your content, a natural number of times. So as I had mentioned, content is there for Google to sink its teeth into, and how else is Google going to know about the products and services that you have? The other thing is to make sure that you tune in for Friday's social and content day. Just make sure you mark your calendar now, and with your registration, you are actually already registered for that day, so no need to re-register again. But yeah, definitely going to be a great day of content there. So looking at heading tags. Heading tags, or H tags, are another important element of on-page optimization. Heading tags typically range from H1 to H6, and the importance of each of those tags descends as the number ascends. So H1 would be your most important heading tag, H2 would be your second most important, H3 is the third most important, etc., etc. And really what you want to consider is treating your H tags much like you would like they were like a headline in a newspaper. So you want to share information and kind of break up your content a little bit. However, you want to be informative and not spammy. So again, utilizing the concept that it's like a headline in a newspaper, you want to include those major keywords in there. So again, using widget emporium as an example, the H1 tag, what we would want to include there could be something like high quality blue widgets, so that way you have it included in there that the you're talking about blue widgets, but it's not something that's spammy by any stretch of the imagination. Now, before we move on, I am seeing a lot of great questions coming across. Thank you very much, everybody. Keep them coming, please. We're going to chisel out some time at the end to really cover all of these questions. And as I mentioned, anything that we can't get to during the presentation today, we will be covering in a blog post afterwards. So please keep these great questions coming. I'm seeing them out of the corner of my eye, and they're definitely some really high quality questions. So I hope we can get to as many of them as possible today. So the next thing to keep in mind when it comes to on-site SEO is images. Images are what make the web a pretty place. The thing to note about images, though, is that Google doesn't yet really understand what an image is of. And I say that the word yet as a very preeminent prediction as to some of the next steps that Google is going to be taking. We're actually already starting to see some of the fruits of this coming to light right now. So until Google can 100% tell what an image is of, what we can do is give hints with an image alt tag. Just like with all elements within SEO, if you haven't caught the hint already, we want to make sure that we are not loading our image alt tags with keywords. And the other side to images as well is that we have to make sure that the images load fast. Images are typically a pretty key culprit in extended website load time. So we do want to make sure that our images are optimized from the perspective of their load time so that they are loading fast, and then we can also put the alt text or alt tags on the images themselves so that way Google can have some text associated with the image itself. Next is internal links. This is honestly probably the most overlooked element of on-page optimization. The one thing to keep in mind is that Google wants to crawl page to page to page of your website. So why not have text within your website that links to other pages so that we can make sure that that crawl process is happening easier and easier. Then the other beautiful thing is that these internal links allow the weight of the page before them to pass through. So again, our old friends at Widget Emporium, if we have our home page and we have our 300 words of content, and in that content we cite blue widgets, and that page links to the blue widgets page, that weight of our home page passes on to the blue widgets page specifically. So it's a great way of passing some strength on from one page to another. Now, of course, again, keeping with our theme, this has to absolutely be done naturally, and you can definitely, as I mentioned, utilize some keywords to pass this strength along. If we overdo it, you're going to, like many things within the world of SEO, if we overdo it, we're going to have more negative signals than positive. And the key that I would keep in mind here is that if you want a reference to a website that is utilizing this perfectly, think of Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a great example of somebody who utilizes internal links. It's great. It's useful for the end user. And they have a great user experience because they keep you on their website researching and reading for long periods of time. This is, of course, the voice of experience referring there. So next, getting into a little bit of the technical stuff within SEO. Some of the things that we want to consider are the robots.txt and sitemap files. These files essentially exist so that we can direct Google to specific pages on our website, and we can tell Google how much priority each of these pages has. So starting with the robots.txt file, what you can do with that is actually block areas that you don't want Google to be crawling. So for instance, if you have an e-commerce website and your website is, let's say, built on Magento, if you may not necessarily want Google crawling through the admin area of your website, so the area that you physically log into to make changes to your products or make changes to your content. Google doesn't necessarily need access to those files. So what you can do is within your robots.txt document, you can call out to Google or just crawlers in general, and you can say disallow crawling to the admin section of the website. And this will essentially block Google from getting through to those areas of your website. Be careful with this area, with this tool, of course, because that in that same way, you could also block Google from getting to your website overall. So you do have to be careful with that. Google does adhere pretty well to the robots.txt file. Not always 100%, but typically pretty well. Next, what you can do is utilize a sitemap file. So an XML sitemap file is a document that outlines where the individual URLs of your website are, and you can pass through some important information onto Google. So for instance, the last time a change was made, how frequently your website is changed, or how frequently a specific page is changed, and then how important that page is to you as a business. So these two used in conjunction can help encourage Google to your website pretty efficiently and accurately, and that is definitely going to be a great step forward within your website. So over the years, this has been discredited a little bit because SEOs have overdone it with these files a little bit. However, it is definitely not going to hurt you to have a well-optimized robots.txt and sitemap file. A couple other technical considerations. You want to make sure, excuse me, you want to make sure that your website is absolutely mobile friendly. We know that the information is out there that states that there is actually more search taking place on mobile devices than on desktop computers. So making sure that your content is ready for that is of utmost importance. Now you can either use a mobile version of your website, so a completely separate build, or you can make your current website responsive, and that will also work for you as well. So having a website that is either 100% changeable for any device in the mobile specific version would be great, or you can have it just resized to any website. Google has in the past stated that they do lean a little bit towards responsive, and that is just kind of food for thought there, and it's also kind of most efficient for as different screen sizes are coming out and everything. The other thing to keep in mind, make sure that your website loads fast. People are moving faster than ever, and page speed has become a very strong ranking signal. So make sure that your website loads on a 56K modem. Probably jogging a few memories by mentioning that one, but on a 56K modem, we want to make sure that your website loads in about 3 to 5 seconds or less. So now that we've covered on-page optimization and some different things along those lines, what we also wanted to share with everybody was that for participants at SEO Week, we're happy to grade a couple lucky participants here. So if you want to test out and try filling out your website's optimization, feel free to send it back to us, and we can definitely take a look at it for you, and we might be able to even give a little bit of feedback. So if you, I'm sure we've gotten several requests at this point, so just jot down a note to remember to send it back to us utilizing the subject line SEO worksheet, and we're going to be more than happy to take a look at those worksheets for you in the future. And this is definitely going to be a great way of just having that open conversation about how to handle on-page optimization. So the next piece that we wanted to cover as we close out day one of SEO Week is understanding algorithms. What we want to essentially share is that there are 3 functions of an algorithm, and it's crawling, indexing, and displaying information. So to understand crawling, we want to think of Google like a spider. The whole purpose of this spider is to crawl the web for useful information. So it goes from page to page to page of the web, and essentially goes and finds all of this information. The way that it does this is through links, which is why we mentioned internal links as a way of going about and getting some signals from Google. Now, indexing is the direct next step. Once the algorithm has gone through and crawled all of this information, they then take all of that information and store it into a certain order. The purpose of SEO overall is to essentially make sure that your website is within the quality guidelines as Google is trying to do the indexing process. And then, of course, it's showtime. It's time for Google to show that information, and essentially the work of SEO is to make sure that all of the information is there accurately. So a little bit of a history within search engines. So we talk a lot about Google, and the reason being is that before Google, search engines were very frustrating. They were inaccurate. A lot of junk results would show up, and then from a popularity standpoint, they never really stuck around for a long time. So I'm sure this is a nice flashback for a lot of folks on the screen here. Some of the search engines of the past, so it seemed like for a while, like every month you had a new search engine that you had to use because the results really just kind of stopped being good after a while. But that was, of course, until Google came along, and Google introduced several concepts. So on top of looking at things that are on the site as a ranking factor, they were able to look at links as a ranking factor. And we're going to dive into that pretty deeply in just a moment here. But what also made Google different was their ability to grade a website based on the quality of those links, and that is of course referred to as PageRank. So we're actually going to have a pretty significant talk about PageRank in the next couple days because of some of the drastic changes that are taking place within PageRank. But for the time being, we want to talk about PageRank as it had currently existed, and how it relates to links as a ranking factor. So what I want everyone to do is think of a teacher. Let's say she gives an assignment in her classroom, and she says, I would like everybody to please write a paper on the American Civil War. So she gives the assignment and gets 10 reports back. 5 of them are just absolutely stellar. Some of the best content that this teacher has ever seen written about the American Civil War throughout her entire career. She looks to the bibliography and notices that all 5 of these reports are utilizing one book to pull their information from, where the other ones didn't. So if you think about, if you relate this to search engines, in this instance, the teacher would be Google, the search query would be the American Civil War, and those 5 reports are going to be the top 5 results. And the reason that those are the top 5 results is because they are all linked to that one very high quality book. So that is how essentially Google looks at links. And here is essentially how a link is structured. So these are essentially all of the elements within a link, and everything that is highlighted in red are essentially the elements that are needed for a link to structure. I'm sorry, the structure of a link that are needed for the link to function. So the anchor text used to be a signal that Google would utilize from external websites to yours, and that signal has somewhat gone away. So when we are looking for links to be built from other websites to ours, please make sure that you are utilizing your brand, and make sure that you are building more of those natural signals. The other area that I want to cover within this structure of a link slide here is the area that says rel no follow. So for a while in SEO, a major part of link building and acquiring links was folks going to blogs that weren't their own and leaving comments so that you could just get a really quick backlink. Now, website owners and blog owners started to get a little bit irritated with this because it was essentially done with the purpose of just for SEO reasons. No real benefit to the end user other than, you know, then somebody else is getting some SEO benefit. So the rel no follow attribute was introduced to links, and what essentially this does is it blocks what's referred to as link juice in its tracks from going through the link and into your website. So no value essentially passes through that link to your website anymore other than the fact that that link physically exists. We're going to be covering that over the next couple days as well. So with that in mind, it's important to note that you absolutely never want to take the easy option when it comes to off-page optimization. As SEOs, we have to understand that SEO, to a certain degree, is an act of manipulation. It's a positive act of manipulation because we're trying to help our businesses grow. But a lot of folks over the years have really found it irresistible to really just kind of go after Google's algorithm structure. This led to a lot of unreliable rankings, and being as Google has the obligation to its shareholders to keep people on Google and keep people coming back to Google, Google of course took action. And they did that through a number of algorithm updates, which of course we're going to be covering in tomorrow's session. So that you don't end up on the negative side of one of these algorithm updates, what we want to do is we want to look at some legitimate ways of sharing great content and different things along those lines to improve your off-page optimization. One example is PR, and I'm talking about public relations here. So being a part of your community and making things happen like that, that's a great way of getting some links generated to your website. Event sponsorships are great. So one example that we have here in our area of beautiful Princeton, New Jersey, we once took part of an event called Startup Weekend, where I was a coach at one of the events, and as a result, that organization linked to our website, and that was a natural backlink. Had nothing to do, we didn't request it or anything, but we did get that. Product or service reviews are another great way. If you have a customer base and you know that they have a website, go ahead and ask for a review. That is definitely a great way of getting links. Video creation is also solid. Remember that Google owns YouTube. So being a part and playing in that playground will definitely help your business. And then relevant business directories. So when we say relevant business directories, we're talking about your local chamber of commerce. We're talking about your local business organization. We're talking about trade organizations that you belong to, different things along those lines. We're not talking about general web directories, like things that you can just submit to 30 different forms and now you have 30 new backlinks. We're not talking about things like that. We're talking about places where it makes sense for your business to genuinely be located. There's plenty of other ideas out there as well. There's lots of great information out there. Lots of places to go to that are going to be areas that you can definitely be a part of a greater conversation. Now, I don't want to say that there are no wrong answers, because there are a lot of places that you don't want to be associated. However, it does take a bit of creativity. It's definitely worthwhile to really just think and say, okay, what can I as an organization do to improve my community around me and the community around my business? How can I be a part of that? And that typically leads to some great natural places for some links to be built. So in a nutshell, and as we open it up to questions, in a nutshell, SEO is the art and science of bridging the gap between a search engine and a website. So even though we can't modify things that are within the algorithm itself, our job as SEOs is to make sure that we are modifying our website to be a part of the algorithm story overall. So that is essentially what SEO is about at the end of the day, is making sure that you are a part of that greater conversation. And yeah, that's essentially what SEO is in a nutshell. So that leaves us with about 10 minutes for Q&A. Like I mentioned a little bit ago, we had a lot of really good questions coming across, so I'm just opening this up here. So we're going to start going through some of these questions. And okay, so some of the things where we're starting off with here. SEO tips for e-commerce. So when we go into the technical day, we will definitely be diving through a lot of e-commerce type of scenarios. Some of the things to keep in mind for e-commerce will definitely be looking at things like pagination, looking at canonicalization. That's definitely going to be some of the things that we're going to be looking out there for there. So things related to e-commerce specifically, stay tuned for the technical day, and you'll have a lot of good notes to take away from there. All right, Okay, so the next question here, what's the best practice content guidelines for e-commerce category or manufacturer landing pages? So on your category level landing pages, it will definitely be good for you to get at least a couple paragraphs of content in there. It's not necessarily that you need to have the 300 words in there, but just as long as it looks natural and there is at least a paragraph or two in there. Now, the best performing ones typically do tend to have the 300 words in them, so just, food for thought there. However, it's not absolutely necessary to have 300 words there, but it is, you will typically see better results. Okay, next question. Where can you find a list of the most searched terms via Google? Where I like to begin is honestly the Google's. I am drawing a blank. I apologize. It is the keyword planner tool. Thank you. The Google keyword planner tool is going to be the area that you're going to go to to find the general search volume. You can also use some third-party tools like SEMrush. Tends to provide some very solid resources there. Another great way that I like to utilize is to use what is referred to in the SEO space as the do not press enter rule. So something that is popular within your industry, what you can do is go to Google and start searching for it. So let's just say you go to Google, start searching for blue widgets. What's going to happen is Google's going to start populating some results that could be popular and relevant to what you're searching for. So what you can do is utilize some of those other things that are popping up to kind of get a little bit of guidance, because that's going to be another indicator of what people are searching for. Okay, the next question, is it important to use the heading tags in order? That is H1 only once on a page, then in order from the rest of the tags. Is it bad form to have an H3 under an H1? Okay, that is a fantastic question. So, and I'm glad that you asked it. So the H tags you do want to use in ascending order. So use the H1 tag first, then use the H2, then use the H3. And this may not be the most popular opinion, but you do want to make sure that you are utilizing them only once per page as well. So I have found the best results happen when you really give a lot of weight to each of those tags individually. So, so to answer your question, yes, only use the H1 once, only use the H2 once, only use the H3 once, and have them be in that order and have them descend in importance like that. Ooh, okay, great question here. What about a one-page website? So that is an absolutely fantastic question. So a one-page website essentially reads just like that in the eyes of Google, where it's one long page of content. So you don't want to. So typical best practice is to make sure that you are. Excuse me. So best practice is to make sure that your pages are individually broken up. There are some tricks that you can do, but up until Google improves this crawl overall, I would highly suggest having individualized pages, but that is just in my experience. Oh, great question. Actually, it's more of a comment. How about, so the question is no mention of schemas with a question to the importance. That's a great point. And we do have a very large section in the content on the technical day. We wanted to really just cover the basics today, and we felt that schemas or structured data were a little bit more advanced. So we just want to make sure that we are, kind of, making everything digestible today. But within the next couple of days, when we get to the technical day, that is when we will be covering schemas and other elements of structured data. So we have about time for one more question. Okay, so sorry, I'm just trying to filter through all of these great questions here. The last question that we wanted to cover was how many times how can we tell how Google crawls your website? A great way of telling and testing how Google has crawled your website is by using the command cache and then a colon and then the URL for your website. So CACHE colon and then your URL, and that will essentially allow you to see how Google has your website cached and the last time that Google essentially has cached your website. So thank you everybody for your time today. We want to send out a reminder and just mention, join us tomorrow. We're going to be covering a lot of things, all things SERP, so things that are changing within the search engine results page in 2016 and even a little bit before. And then the rest of the lineup for SEO Week is, of course, outlined here. Make sure you tune in for a lot of the questions that were coming in were around the technical day. So I highly encourage everybody to sign up for that day. That's going to have a lot of that great information there. But otherwise, thank you everybody for coming out today and spending the hour with us. All of the information that we've covered today will be covered within our blog. So make sure that you check there within the next couple hours, and stay tuned for an email from us. You'll be able to see when we have those updates up and running. And otherwise, we look forward to seeing you on the other days of SEO Week, and we'll see you all there. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming out today and spending the hour with us. We'll see you again tomorrow.